UMB alert members, what's going on? It's Matt again here. Let's do a recap for Tuesday, October 14th. So here we are. We are going to get right in it today. We're just going to do a few. I don't have a whole ton of time. For those of you that are just tuning in for the first time here to our channel, what we're doing here is a recap of the alerts that went out today for our premium alert subscribers, right? So we have a Telegram group that what we do is scan the market all day long, and we send out the absolute best alerts that we possibly can on what is moving on a particular day. So the alerts come through their volume spikes, they are EMA stacks, they are VWAP reclaims and bounces, all kinds of good stuff. So for those of you that may not be subscribed to the alert channel, feel free to hop in the comments and let us know if you do want to get in. We are more than happy, but most importantly, guys, we are more concerned with making sure that our alert members understand what's going on with these alerts and how us analysts are interpreting them and playing them ourselves. So that's why we're doing these videos. So we are physically going to be going through the alerts, and which you see here in the top left corner of my screen. This is the alert channel on Telegram. Give me 1 second. So this is the alert channel on Telegram, and this is how they come through all day. And today we had a bunch. It was nowhere near as good as a day that we had yesterday, but it was still a really solid day with some decent plays. So right out of the gate, we had CYN. That was 7:04 this morning. It came out with some news. It wasn't anything crazy, but CYN is a known runner. If this thing gets some volume and the right catalyst, it can get legs for sure. So if you see this pop up in any of our alerts, you should definitely be paying close attention to it. So what did we get? It was 7:04 this morning, which was right here in this blue box. If I kind of blow it up, right? The alert was, let's see, 7:03, 7:04 was right here in this candle at somewhere about $6.30. So from there, what are we going to do, guys? What do we always say? Hey, when you pull up a chart for the first time that day, identify your support and your resistance. So I had this chart up. I already threw some lines on it just so that we could kind of expedite things a little bit. But when you first pull this chart up, what are you going to do? You're going to look for, okay, where's this thing at? Where's my resistance? Where was a high? Where's support, right? So we didn't have a lot to go off of here. This thing was kind of flatlined for a while, right? Which is how most of these tickers are. They're just completely baselined, and they range within a couple cent range, and then boom, they take off. So there was no support and resistance to really mark down here. The absolute first resistance we could identify would have been this high here before this little pullback. So we got a line there. Okay, hey, let's call that support for now. It's not very solid, but that's all we got to go off of. So get a line on your chart and let's call that support, right? So again, this alert came through here. Well, guess what? We also have a high a day, so you should have a line here that marks resistance, right? Because we don't know. Is this thing going to just dump? Is it going to pull back and then take off? Well, if it takes off, we need to know where our resistance is so that we can properly scale our trade and or just close it out altogether once we approach resistance, which is exactly what happened here in this trade. So this is how I played this trade. So once we felt confident, excuse me, in the setup, and we got the alert out right about here, it spikes up again, it tests that same high, and then begins our pullback. So what you're looking for in this pullback is, okay, that line that I charted from that previous high that we had, let's see if it can come down and actually hold that resistance. But guys, listen, very important. You're not buying this as soon as it touches the resistance. You have to make sure that it actually holds the resistance, right? So what are we going to do? Okay, we're going to let the candle come down and either touch and or break. You can see right here it broke just a little bit under our line. And then you want it to jump back up over our line, which is exactly what this did. This candle opened, it dropped below our line, it jumped back up. Great, right? Not only that, but we do got kind of a hammer candle. I don't want to really call it that, but that kind of signals a reversal. This guy over here is certainly a small hammer candle. So as soon as this candle closed above, I took a position, right in here somewhere. So right about $6, 603. What I did was, because it's so early in the morning and we don't know how we have no idea of the gauge of the market, this early in the morning. We don't know. Is it going to be like a pump and dump kind of day where even known runners just kind of jump and then they dump off? Or are we going to get lots of spikes? We have no idea. So it's important to have that resistance line. So took my position here, and as we started climbing back up, I got out somewhere around here like 655. So another important key note, as you're approaching your resistance, you should be scaling out or completely closed out before you get there. Don't get greedy, right? Like, as we come up to that resistance line, you should be thinking to yourself, hey, this thing is going to reject my line and it's going to fall back off. So as we come up to it, you don't want to wait till you get there and then try and sell, because, hey, what if everybody else in the market is doing the same thing right here? Well, there's a good chance that could happen. So you want to actually beat that by a few cents if you can. So as this is coming up, I sold somewhere around like in this area, like 655. I took my little jump here, probably like a 10% gain on my buy-in down here. So from there, we obviously had some more gain here, right? So I closed my position here. And this thing shot through our resistance. I said, great, okay, well, what do I need now that it shoots through resistance? I need a pullback. I need to wait until this thing pulls back and touches my support line, because you can't just immediately buy back in because we got over resistance. Many times, as you'll see in my charting examples, and anybody's for that matter, it will break resistance, it'll hover for a second, and then boom, it slams down. It cannot actually hold over top of that resistance. So, and that is purely just buyer exhaustion, right? Which we will get into in another video. And for now, so what happened here was we broke our resistance. I waited for the next candle to open. We opened somewhere about here. We dipped down and we tested resistance, and I bought back in right here. We climbed up. We got into this candle. We climbed up, but we pulled back down. We got into this candle. We came slamming down right to my entry. I did not close. This thing actually breached resistance, but I did not actually close my position right here because I'm not worried. I mean, unless it just falls off, right, all the way down. As long as it's within, a few cents in here, I need this candle to close. If it closes below my resistance line, so I'd say it closed in here somewhere, right? If it closed there, the body of the candle, then I'm out. Right, that's my cue to get out of the trade. As long as it closes above my line, and I know that my line's fairly accurate from the body of the candle over here, right? I know that my line is like fairly accurate. As long as it closes above, then that says to me, okay, this thing's holding support. Bulls are back in, right? So I'm still in this trade from over here, right? So at this point, I'm back down to my entry. I'm net zero. And then boom, look what happens on the next candle. Bam, all the way up, right? So as soon as we got up here and this candle closed, and then this one opened and it pulled way back, but then it came back up and it formed this little hammer here. That to me is a sign to get out, right? It is a potential sign of a reversal, and I'll just take my gain there. Again, looking at like maybe a 10% gain on that single candle. Maybe a little less, but close, right? So I take my gain, I close my position, I'm out. And guess what? I was right. It fell off from there. So I don't have another high of day up here to reference to say, well, I'm coming up on resistance. I wasn't coming up on resistance. So what did I do? I read the charts and I did candlestick analysis. Instead of looking for resistance, because I didn't have one. So that's what I did there. It pulled way back. We got under our support. It actually closed under, so I said, that's not good. So we got into the next candle. It popped right back up on support. Well, okay, right? So now we're up here, and I'm looking for an entry. But listen, because it closed under right here and then popped right back up, it's kind of like even, right? It's not giving me, it's very bearish or it's very bullish. So I need the next candle to tell me what to do. If this thing closes below, like it did, Okay, yeah, I'm definitely more bearish here, and I'm not liking it, right? So what happens? The next candle opens. It opens below my support line. However, it closed as a hammer, right? This candle right here tells me, yo, watch out. We could be coming up on a reversal. So that you want to pay attention to these candles, right? This is, well, it's almost a doji, but we're going to call it a hammer. It's got a little top wick on it, but fine. It's got a longer bottom wick. So the point there is, to me, it's more of a hammer than a doji. Regardless, it signals a potential reversal. And we are kind of fighting VWAP in here, right? So I said, all right, that's a good sign. Let me see what happens here. Next one opens. It closes not only above VWAP, but above support. I said, oh, okay. And we have equal wicks top and bottom. So we know that sellers and buyers are kind of fighting on this candle. But what happened? We got above support, we got above VWAP, so that's a great sign, right? So we get into this next candle, and we have these monster. I'm sorry, I thought they were wicks, and they're definitely not. It's the center of my price grid here. So we get just kind of a basic candle here. We hop above our EMAs. The EMAs stack in order here. Guess what? I take a position here, right? Even though what I got here is an upside down hammer, I take a position anyway. Probably not advisable when you see this upside down hammer. You got a lot of selling pressure from the top. It, again, can signal a reversal to the downside. I took a small position, a starter. It comes down and it wicks down and hits our support and bounces twice off it. Right? Once we get into this candle, kind of just hangs out. This one breaks up over, and I added somewhere in this position here. Once I knew that we were, I guess it was probably actually over here. Once I knew that we got above these two wicks here, this one and that one, I added to my position here for a full size. We danced over, we pulled back down, we tapped our 13 EMA here, and the next candle it just went up and up and up from there. So this entire move on CYN from the alert was about 20%. So not a bad alert, not a bad way to start the day, right? So again, going to keep this video moving. I'm happy to break this thing down even farther if anybody is interested in it, but let's just kind of keep moving and look for another one. Let's look at, and I'm just going to go randomly. I won't go in order here. I mean, we had a bunch. We had Caps News, MNTS, UGRO. UGRO was definitely a little bit of a mover. AREC. I'm just kind of scrolling down to try and find one that I like. LITM. I do like LITM. I don't remember trading it. But let's just see what that chart looks like. So at 9:11, LITM came through warming up. I just got to find the right spot in the chart. So 9:11, somewhere in here. Yeah, not a very pretty chart. Very wicky, no volume really. So I'm guessing that this thing, that's why I probably didn't trade it. But let's just look at it. I mean, it's a good example, right? We get these alerts. Listen, guys, we are scanning the market all day long, right? We're looking at every single volume spike and unusual activity that happens all day long. So when we pull these things up, especially if it's a known runner. LITM is, for the most part, it can, again, like CYN, it can get some legs as long as there's a catalyst and it runs, and you know, we get some volume, right? It can definitely run. So so let's see, LITM 9:11 was just give me a second here. 9:08. I'm on the 30-second, so let's go to the 1 minute. 9:11. So we waited till this candle, till this pullback here, and the alert was at 9:69, so we were somewhere in this region, right? So we had pulled back from this high. So what's the first thing we're going to do, right? You're going to open this chart and you are going to get a line at this high. The alert came through because that's now resistance, right? We know, like, hey, that's gonna, if anything goes back up here, it could potentially reject. So we took this alert somewhere in here. So this is why I didn't play this, because yeah, we had this nice kind of spike up, but then it fell off, and we knew right away, hey, we needed to break up here, or else it's not really worth playing. It's just going to fall to the downside, unless, of course, you short stocks, which we don't do that here at UMB. So anyway, we fall off, and the rest of the day, there was no break of that high. Look, you can see it was never tested again, right? So what do we do with this? It doesn't mean that it's completely in the garbage, because there was plenty of scalping opportunities for this thing throughout the day. So let's just say you sat on LITM all day, just, I don't know, waiting for it to break this high, right? Well, you weren't taking any positions in this area, coming down off this cliff here. Right here, we had like a reversal, but it was really just a bull trap. Our EMAs are flipped on each other. That thing falls off more. Okay, we get back up. Hey, we almost get a pullback over VWAP here. It kind of rejects, falls back off. Great, we get a VWAP reclaim in here. And it kind of just moves sideways. So if you were watching this, maybe you took this reclaim once this candle closed, and that kind of, that would have been okay, right about 589 or something. You would have got up in here to a high of 617. I mean, not bad, like a 30-cent move, right? So, and then if you held, you would have got even better up here in 649. But hey, better yet, our 813 reclaim strategy. I mean, look at this move here that would have worked. So the idea is that, if you look at these tickers all day long, that, or you can typically find during the day, right here's a perfect example of a scalp that you could have taken. I mean, if you waited for that candle to close over your 8 EMA here, just like we have taught you in the previous videos, and you rode right there, 7% scalp. Not bad, right? Not huge, but it's fine. You can do these things all day long, and you can make money, right? So in here, the same thing happened, right? You can see in here, it was kind of slow. It fell off, but whatever. Eventually, it got all the way up here to 665. So it's important to have these other strategies in your toolbox so that you can continue to trade all day long should you see the right setup, even if it isn't a break of your high, because we're always preaching about these support and resistance lines. However, you got to remember there are other strategies to consider that you can trade intraday. So, and that's what we're doing here at UMB, is trying to teach those to you. So let's just kind of keep going through the list. Today really wasn't actually. There were some things that moved. DDHL was okay. Let's see. It wasn't really until after hours today until we really saw some moves down here in AWX, S. Seed, right? These guys were fire, man. Let's look at AWX alert. That came through at 4:04. So 4:04 is on this chart is somewhere in. Let's see, where are we at? 16 foot. So we saw this thing pop up. It kind of zoned out. Then we had a nice spike. We're like, all right, now we got something, right? So it pulled back right in here. The alert went out like right in here. So we knew that obviously right away, the first thing you're going to do when this alert went out is like, where's my support and resistance, right? So you would have had a line probably based off of this high. I don't really like these two little soldier candles. I'm more like this, like down here. I would have called that support, especially because it lines up with these guys. So sometimes, guys, you got to remember, like, your support and resistance lines don't have to be perfect. In fact, it's better, for sure, no question, to just draw them as like a zone, right, across your chart with a rectangular box. That's a much better way to deal with that, because what that's representing is that liquidity either left behind or bought up, basically. So we're going to go over this in another video. But regardless, your line doesn't have to be perfect. I would have drawn that line there. This thing shot off, right? Came all the way up here. We barely had time to get the alert out. We got it out. It pulled back. And you would have definitely had a line either at the body here or all the way up here at the wicks. I like to mark the bodies as my highs for my resistance. Regardless, it pulls back. It comes back up. kind of tests a little bit. It breaks a little, and it really struggles up in this area. So there wasn't a huge play in here to be had. You would have taken a position in here once it broke and confirmed that it held, and then we got a little piece, and it came back down, and it fell off. And I think from there it was done. Let's look at the next one, S dot. This guy, I'm pretty sure, was a good one. Let's see. All right, so S dot. And that thing came through at 416 today. So 416, somewhere back here. So the alert actually came through, let's see, right here on this candle. So, and that was all the way down at where are we at? Came through at 416. The price was 580. So yeah, that was like at the top of this little candle here. And what did we get there, right? So I actually didn't play this until we got a break because I needed a break of this high. So once we actually broke that high, I was concerned because our next break candle wasn't very big. And then what happened from I mean, you guys know, right? Once we get a break, once we get a test of our high, you need it to close a full candle above, which it did. And then what we're looking for is a retest of the support line where it actually kind of holds here. Well, the candle that I got, I did not like a doji candle here, right? I'm going to blow it up big so you can see. This doji candle, I did not like. And then what happened after that? Boom, it fell off. So I'm glad that I didn't buy that. Then it ranged, it pulled back. I mean, it went all the way back to almost where it came from down here. That was a crazy pullback. Again, just it could not find support like you would have thought maybe somewhere in here off this low, and it blew right through it. So anyway, came back up. It broke that resistance again, and then it pulled back down under the resistance. It still couldn't hold, and it pulled back, and it came back down. And then it did. This one did find support right here with this neighboring support, right? So that was a good sign. Probably should have had that line drawn. Then it came up. And it broke, and this is where I kind of started to get interested in it because it kind of started dancing around up over this high. I think what happened was it came up, it closed. I took a position in here, and then it fell off in the next candle and it closed under, and I cut. It was a small loss. It was a starter position I was going to add above this other high from this wick here. I cut my loss, which is exactly what you should do if you're playing a break of high kind of day. It's exactly what you should do. So it fell off, and then it popped back up, and then it fell off again. And I was just kind of concerned with it in here because it's really sporadic action. If you look at this, it just wasn't making any sense. It wasn't until we got up over this high here and this thing closed over the high. Once it closed over the high right here, I waited for the next candle to open, but instead of waiting for it to retest right here, I actually took a starter to begin with. We shot off, we came back down. Next candle opened, we shot off. I added somewhere in here, right? So then from there, we had a nice ride up. It came up, we got a little micro consolidation. This, my friends, would have been a great place to add more to your position. So after you get that nice spike and you move sideways into consolidation, this is typically a good sign. As long as your volume is there, as long as your MACD is open, which it was, this is typically a good sign that we're going up for another leg. So that would be a great place if we look at that. And this is why I watch these moves on the 30-second, right? Because look how different the 30-second looks than the 1 minute, right? So here's the 30-second chart. We got two red down bars, a little consolidation, and then bam. On the 1 minute, we got one red bar, a little guy here, and then bam. So when I'm actually in a trade, I will switch from the 1 minute to the 30-second so that I can see what's going on midway through a candle. That's super important to me. I want to know if, halfway through the 1 minute candle, hey, is it pulling? Are we getting a little micro pullback? Is there an entry? Is there potential ads? Like, what's going on, right? So I like to look at the 30-second while I'm in a trade. So that thing came back down. Again, not really sitting on any support that we know of in here. Really just kind of the top of this candle here, which I would not have had marked as support. So it came down. It found support on what we can say is the 5 EMA. That's our green line. And then fell off a little, and it bounced off the bottom 13, jumped back up, and boom, right? So at the end of the day, this was actually a pretty good move. It from there it fell off. I cut somewhere up here. I think I let this candle go and let the next one open, and I think I cut down here somewhere, actually like 960. Just kind of waiting for another micro pullback and then up, but it didn't do that. I wanted to fall off more and more and more. It got kind of consolidated, went under VWAP. I was like, this thing's of no interest. And then it regained VWAP, came all the way back up, and actually kind of made like an all-time high up here of like 1088. So this was actually a really interesting one and fun one to play. You could have played this a couple times in this jargon here, right? Especially once we got up back up on VWAP here. Once we were over, once you're over VWAP, you have a little more confidence, right? The bulls are for the most part in control. So once we broke, right, we were over VWAP, right? And once you broke through your EMAs here, that would have been a position to take. You took this position here, and it pulled back, up, back, consolidate. Like you could rode this thing you could have played the 5, 8, 13 EMA break right here and rode that thing from 914 up to 1080. I mean, come on, guys. That's a monster move off of one play, right? So that is why it's super, super important to understand these strategies that we are teaching you guys, because if you don't have them in your toolbox, you're going to be focused on like one little setup or something, right? And you're not going to find it, or you're going to take a trade that you don't really know what you're doing, and you're going to get stopped out or whatever. It's super important to understand the strategies that we're teaching you, so that you're not just focused on looking for one little thing. As the ticker is moving through the chart, you're actually looking for different strategies. Hey, is this a VWAP bounce? Is it a VWAP reclaim? Is it a 5, 8, 13 EMA break? Is it a high a day break, right? So there are a bunch of strategies that you can use along with candlestick analysis, right? Which is a little bit different from technical analysis. It's essentially just being able to read the candles themselves. What is the picture that the candles are telling me? Is it a double top? Is it a tweezer top, tweezer bottom? There's all kinds of patterns with the candlesticks themselves that tell you things about what may come next. So we're going to do videos on all that stuff, guys. It's coming up for sure. So I don't want to go too far into that. But today overall was pretty good. Again, it was not a day like yesterday where it was just a crazy, crazy bull market. But still lots of opportunities to be had. So with that, I'm going to wrap this video up. As I always say, if there was an alert today to our members, if there was an alert today that I did not break down, that you were really hoping I did, maybe the only one you took or a couple that you took that I did not break down here because I only did a few, and you're super interested in like how I would have dealt with that alert as it came through, and you want to see it on a chart and you want to hear me kind of talk through it and break it down, I would love to be able to do so. So get in the comments, let us know. We will do that. I will make you your own video and send it to you if that's what it takes. So again, get in the comments and let us know. Likewise, if you are not on the alerts and you want to start receiving them, please let us know. We will get you that information right away. The first thing you should do for sure, which I'm imagining you've already done if you're on this video, is you should be on our Facebook page and our TikTok, and you should have likes and follows so that you can see this content coming out as we post it, which is daily, all day long. So anyway, with that said, guys, definitely a good day today. Let's hope for at least a decent day tomorrow, and we will wrap this up.